I'm here today with John Hewlett, and it's a thrill to have him. He has done some amazing stuff with science and with a product. You guys have heard me talking about CardioMiracle, and it has really changed the way I feel. I've gone off 3 prescription meds, I've gone off 2 supplements, and I feel like I'm 30, 40 years old. My brain is working better. I have energy. I don't have the pain I used to have. It's opened up my system. But John understands the science of it.
Well, it's delightful to be with you. And just a couple of months ago, my wife said to me, she says, "You need to listen to this guy, Brother Merrill." And I said, "That's great. I love listening to podcasts, and I listen to our mutual friend Luther Palmer, Watcher Palmer, and I listened and I kept thinking, oh my gosh, no wonder your grandkids liked you to read them stories and tell them stories. But my goodness, the stories you have are fantastic. And
Christ taught with stories,
parables and stories.
He told stories.
So I've always done that, and my dad did that. My dad was actually.
I believe that's really teaching the Savior's way.
It's really important that people do that, and so this has been a marvelous broadcast, and we're delighted as part of the CardioMiracle that we're seeking for people who are looking to share truth. We're seeking people who are interested in the gathering of Israel. Hey, my mission is to the house of Israel. When I got involved in this, I was actually had a very successful financial business. When I got sick and I thought I was going to die and traditional medicine let me down, that set me on a journey to find my own solution to my own family hereditary heart disease, which I was going to be dying from. My father died at 62, my uncle at 57, my grandfather at 66, my aunt at 67. I was next. I was actually having heart issues in my 50s. And so when I had a botched appendectomy, that led me on a quest to try to find natural answers and alternatives. So I walked away from a multi-million-dollar business to try to find answers that could help other people, that would have helped my father and my aunt and my uncle and others that I love. And so often when people go, why is he all over these places? I said, I really should be retired, but I think saving the hearts of mankind is really important, and that's what I feel is our mission. And so when we were able to connect, and I think that you were able to feel the authenticity of what I was trying to do.
As I told you, and John called me and asked me, Scott Palmer's a very dear friend. He's told me about CardioMiracle. Like a lot of people, when I hear something, I'm kind of like, that's fine. But I'm someone that feels my body, and I sense what is going on with it. And I think we can find natural ways to
integrate. I like to call it integrative.
To integrate. Yeah. I still take one prescription, but I've gone off 3. Now I feel so much better than I have for decades. It's an amazing product, and I wouldn't say it was an amazing product. It's because of how I feel, and it's amazing stuff.
Well,
but John knows the science behind it. I don't delve into.
Well, there's lots of science and there's lots of good things, but the most exciting thing, really, Lance, is that every day I get letters from people from, their 20s to their 80s that say that they've gotten their life back. I mean, my sweet wife, who's the one who referred me originally to your podcast and said, you need to watch this. She was just with her 94-year-old mother, and her mother had a little setback on some things, and once in the hospital, they wouldn't let her take her CardioMiracle, and her oxygen started dropping. And so my wife had seen so many things in the last 11 years since she's been on this journey with me that she started sneaking it to her mom. So she had to avoid the powers that be. Strangely enough, the oxygen went back to normal, and they're sending mom home this weekend. So we're trying to help prevent those types of things.
Well, and it does. I can't believe the energy, the mental clarity has been unbelievable. I entered 2 different 7-digit numbers 5 minutes after I read them a few weeks ago. And it's been years since I could remember phone numbers, 7-digit numbers. This stuff is, CardioMiracle it's opened up my mind, works again, and I feel optimistic and good. And you mentioned vitamin D. That's the...
Yeah, one of the things that your subscribers might want to look at is if you go to cardiomiracle.com/studies, cardiomiracle.com/studies, We have all of our published science. We're the only nutritional product that has third-party validated clinical studies on our specific ingredients and our specific formula. And one of them talks about diabetes. One of them talks about heart disease. Another one talks about the impact on cognitive decline, dementia, Alzheimer's, PTSD, brain injury.
Yeah, and I read the one on PTSD.
The PTSD, it's unbelievable. The benefits. And I just got an email the other day from somebody who'd watched me actually on a religious broadcast, not of our faith, but a different one. And they had early onset memory problems and were very concerned. And they sent us, the company, a letter saying that the problem that they had been existing had gone away. And that was pretty exciting. But if you read our article that was published in Combat Stress Scientific Journal, which is the premier journal for psychologists and psychiatrists, it specifically states the fact that cognitive problems, including brain injury, PTSD, veterans, that the delivery of vitamin D in the CardioMiracle formula is the most efficient and actually delivers the stored vitamin D that your body stores up for emergencies right into your bloodstream. And that's why people feel better. That's the happy vitamin. Vitamin D, everyone knows, or everyone should know, that's it's now the most online sought after vitamin information. The story of the emergence of vitamin D is kind of an interesting one. I got involved 17 years ago with nitric oxide, vitamin D3. I realized how important vitamin D3 was. Well, Joe Mercola and Dr. Oz talked about the critical nature of vitamin D. And I believe that was the tipping point when all of a sudden vitamin D became important. You know, the average blood work doesn't test vitamin D, which is crazy because vitamin D is an essential component along with nitric oxide that regulates virtually every bodily function. So vitamin D is critical, but it has a dramatic impact on your immune system. They found during COVID, for example, that people who had less or lower vitamin D than 40 or less, they were the ones who got sick. A deficiency of vitamin D3 and a deficiency of arginine in all the people who suffered during the whole pandemic. And that people who had higher vitamin D levels didn't get sick or didn't get sick as long or recovered quicker, and virtually very few, if any, even went to the hospital. But I haven't been sick, Lance. True story. I mean, as you say, you're a physical specimen. I'm not. I haven't been since high school. I have not been sick one day in the 17 years I've been supplementing with nitric oxide and vitamin D. Not one day.
I thought when I started taking this that there was some kind of stimulant in it, ephedrine, but this doesn't have anything like that.
Well, the interesting thing is that most people don't understand is that caffeine actually downregulates or diminishes your nitric oxide and your vitamin D3. So people who become caffeine dependent are more likely to have other health issues that are attached to that. So by replacing with natural fruits, vegetables, and whole plant types of nutrients delivered in water to the gut, immediately creates bioavailable nitric oxide and vitamin D3, which just has a profound impact on overall wellness. Most people don't take 2 or 3 or 4 servings. We encourage people that if you're looking for results or if you have chronic problems, you want to take 4 servings for a couple of weeks, and then you can cut it back. If you're worried about the cost, you know, that's why we have our subscriptions. That's why we have our sales. We have our 180 serving package that gives people a great value. I mean, I go in the store, Lance, all the time, and I see 5-Hour Energy, $5. I see Monster drinks, 2 for $7. I see all this stuff. CardioMiracle, under our subscription program, with 58 of the finest fruits, vegetables, ingredients in the world.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Is
58.
58 plant food nutrients in every formula. It'd be the equivalent of taking 40 capsules of most beets or other fruits and vegetable capsules.
I can say that.
That aren't even. I can say it too. But the reality is, people, you're getting a squirt gun versus a fire hose. when you take cardio.
And people are funny. My wife and I used to be involved in weight loss, and you'd have these 300-pound people come in, and they'd complain about the cost of the program, and then you'd say, well, do you know how much you spend on food as your body feels like it has everything it needs, you don't feel the need to eat something. You don't feel the need to drink something because your body is receiving what it needs.
Good nutrients. And one of the other things that our scientific study showed that CardioMiracle actually facilitates or helps with autophagy. And autophagy, the term, is your body's self-cleaning mechanism in the cell to get rid of the waste products. And so intermittent fasting actually is facilitated and improves with CardioMiracle. We've actually proven that. So we have people who've done, I've done a 13-day CardioMiracle fast. It was amazing. I have people who've done a 22 and a 40-day CardioMiracle fast, and they didn't require anything else. So you can live on it. It's a great meal replacement, but it really can get most people off of the caffeine habit and the other things, because when you have caffeine, you go up and you crash. With CardioMiracle, you go up, but you stay up. And then when you sleep, you sleep. And people actually report that their sleep improves because the blood flows better.
Sherry woke up Saturday before last, and she goes, I hate this. And I was like, what? And she goes, I'm waking up at 6:30 and I'm ready to go. I said, well, how do you feel? She goes, I feel great. I just want to sleep.
I'm used to sleeping longer.
Yeah, she likes to sleep in the morning. And that's when I always did my scripture study and prayers. And so, we kind of switched that around since we started on CardioMiracle.
Well, this just like the response to your stories that you share are gratifying to you, and the effort you put in, hours and hours. I mean, it's incredible the effort and preparation you put into it, Lance. And our mission is to improve the human condition.
You've done that with science.
We're trying to improve it, and we wanted to prove it with science because we actually, frankly, didn't trust medicine and their bias anymore, which seems to be too much controlled by the big corporate interests and financial. So, but that's why we give people an unconditional 60-day money-back guarantee. I mean, it's not like you can go to the grocery store and fill up your basket with $100 worth of food, and then the next day go back or 3 days later and say, I didn't like that stuff I bought here at Harmon's. Give me my $100 back. They won't do that. We will. We are that confident in it. Our returns on that promise is less than 0.2%.
I actually like the taste.
Well, and the majority do, but it's so good for you.
When I get up in the morning, I have a glass of CardioMiracle. It starts my day, and I don't eat anything else for a couple of hours, and I feel like I just feel ready to go.
Alert.
Yeah, I mean, from the minute I get going.
And there's no crash, and I can go right to sleep.
Yeah, you can. Well, that's what amazes me. I can quiet my mind and go to sleep. And where with, like you say, with a caffeinated product, that doesn't work. But the energy level of it is amazing. But the health level is also very interesting to me. I say I'm from the College of Hard Knocks. I was a cement contractor, and I didn't have a big crew. I finished concrete every day for 40 years and held trowels and mags and shovels.
And lifted bags and mixed.
I did a lot of heavy work, so I have a lot of arthritic pain. And this stuff, I've completely gone off. Any of the anti-inflammatory and pain meds that I was on, I don't need them anymore.
Well, CardioMiracle actually has some of the finest natural ingredients that are anti-inflammatories. Turmeric, astaxanthin, and of course the vitamin D and others are anti-inflammatories. So when we deliver that, good things happen. Now, does it fix everything overnight? No, it took most people 40 years to get into the condition they're in. But does it help? Yeah, absolutely. And that's why we're in the business of trying to give people hope, giving them answers without pharmaceutical dependence and all the complications. On every bag of CardioMiracle or every ad or podcast, I don't have to give you the 400 side effects like you do on a pharmaceutical advertisement that we hear on television. And when's the last time you heard of somebody dying from an overdose of a vitamin?
Yeah.
Doesn't happen. And you're in the addiction business. You've been, you're calling, and one of the key parts of the cognitive benefits of CardioMiracle is the help reduction and help with the people with addiction problems.
I believe that.
We should take our health into our own hands and do our own research. For a family like mine that had a family history of of all the men dying before 65, I'm now in my 74th year, and I'm still kicking pretty strong with no medications. I feel pretty good about those odds and the quality of life that's given. And caregivers, ladies, sisters, you do so many good things. And the caregivers of the world often are so worried about the person, the patient,
They get neglected.
that they neglect themselves.
Yep.
And so one of the things that I would highly encourage the sisters and the women, think of yourself. The leading cause of death among women is heart attacks. Nitric oxide was awarded the Nobel Prize for helping to prevent heart attacks and those types of things. It was the Nobel Prize when the Nobel Prize actually meant something.
Is that 2002?
27 years, 1998.
98. Okay.
And so that's when the Nobel Prize. So we're talking about something that's very, very important. But also, as you've seen with your lovely bride, it seems to have a nice impact on her hormonal situation, some digestive issues, and her own clarity, and even, I think, her skin. I mean, think about it. If you're nourishing the microcapillaries with good nutrition, the skin is the largest organ.
The biggest
being
organ,
nourished.
yeah,
Exactly.
it is.
So,
Yeah. But this stuff, though, John, I appreciate you coming today and talking with us.
oh, I'm thrilled. It's
You know
been
the
fun.
science. I'm kind of this is how I feel, believe me or not, but people who watch my channel know that I went 15 months without taking any advertisements on my channel. And I've had multiple organizations come to me and ask me to sponsor their product. And I've told them all, let me try it, let me see. And this is the first one. And I am so glad I found John and CardioMiracle. I should have listened to Scott Palmer years ago.
Just a couple of years.
Yeah,
a couple of years.
But I tell you, it's changed our lives.
Well, and one thing I'd like to make clear to the audience, this is sharing something that works for you and others. I'm not paying Lance to say this. If
True.
people choose to take the product, and if they have a successful experience, we're delighted to help fund the expenses and costs. And it actually came as a byproduct when Janet, my wife, heard you saying that you'd lost your equipment or needed new equipment, it broke down, you needed some new equipment, so you were asking for some donations. My goodness, you spend 30 hours, 40 hours a week preparing this wonderful message, this wonderful podcast for people. Well, do we want YouTube telling you what you can and can't say?
Yeah,
no. The CardioMiracle decided we wanted to help partner and help fund all of these great Mormon podcasts so that they could continue to do their good work and be rewarded for them sharing. It doesn't impact our customers' prices. It actually helps our customers because as we do bigger and more business with people whose lives are blessed by this, it means that we can keep our costs the same. We have not raised our prices in 7 years. That's unheard of, and that's because our business has grown and because we have wonderful partners that we partner with and not pay you to say something you don't believe. We don't want people like that. We want people who want to share something that has worked for them, and if it works for the people, we're delighted to help sponsor we hope a very professional and polite and spiritual way the good work that you're doing. So that's how we view it.
And John and I talked today. You guys that have watched the channel a long time know that I have T-shirts, and so I'm going to give these T-shirts to John and everybody that orders CardioMiracle. If you go to cardiomiracle.com/sunshine and order, you'll get one of our God Loves You Ask Him T-shirt.
Now we only have 100 that we're dealing with, but if this is successful, we'll get some more. We'll try to accommodate the T-shirt, but it's a throw-in. It's not a big expense
for the first 80 people.
That's right. To go on subscription from here forward. We couldn't be happier, Lance, with the benefits both you and Sherry are seeing. Highly recommend caregivers to give this a shot, both for themselves and the people they're caring for.
I've already gotten some good feedback from people that I know that I recommended to take this. You just feel better. And your body is functioning the way God designed it to function. I hope you guys have enjoyed this today. I'm going to post this as an episode. We're going to let people just learn more and feel the enthusiasm that John has. And I share with him about this product because CardioMiracle is really a game changer, especially if you're starting to feel the effects of age and thinking, oh, I didn't think it'd feel this bad, you know. And
It's really not very fun getting older.
since I've started taking CardioMiracle, I don't. I feel like
It helps roll back the years for most
does.
people.
It really-
And I'll tell you, I still work long days, and I
Yeah.
travel a lot.
And you have
jet
the
lag,
energy of
I've got the
a young
energy.
person.
People are shocked by the energy.
Yeah, you
and that's
have
great. And that's good.
It's not because we're both hyperactive. Anyway, thanks, John.
So great. Thanks to be with you.
Okay.
God bless you. And thanks to your great listeners to support this fantastic podcast that Lance has put together.
Well, thank you.